Our Empress, the picture of grace and virtue. Like the absolute epitome of imperial elegance. But then I suddenly realized my Empress might actually be a demoness. Gasp! So one day, our Emperor finishes his boring imperial duties early, thinking he'll surprise his queen. Cute, right? But behind the fancy rock garden in the imperial palace, he saw something that would rock his entire imperial world. Our queen Su Qingyan was literally squatting on the ground, whispering sweet nothings to a snow-white fox. "Red flags, sir!" The very next second, a sound like something unfurling came from behind her. Our Emperor's eyes, wide, because behind her, just 9 fluffy, snow-white, ridiculously soft foxtails, gently swaying. "We're not okay. How many times have I told you, you lil fluff, don't just waltz into the palace looking for me. What if someone sees us, huh? My reputation is on the line." Our Empress, Su Qingyan said, playfully booping the little white fox's forehead. The little fox yelped twice, like it totally understood, rubbing its head against her hand, and then pointing with its paw at the 9 restless tails, sweeping behind her imperial majesty. I know, she mumbled. Getting emotional makes them pop out. I'm working on it. Honestly, being a mortal empress is way harder than 1,000 years of cultivation back in Qingqiu. Queen is tired, okay? Our emperor, still hiding behind the rockery, felt his entire universe just shatter. Not only is his empress a demon, but she's the legendary 9-tailed fox, the one who brings nations to their knees. Oh, our boy is in deep. Was he just stress hallucinating from too much paperwork? Brain rot is real, y'all. He instinctively pinched his own thigh. Ouch. Big ouch. The scene in front of him, still very much real. Su Qingyan was still there, schooling the little white fox. And those 9 glorious fluffy tails, shimmering golden under the sunset, they looked so pettable. Wait, what is he even thinking right now? He's the freaking emperor, the true dragon. For goodness sake. A demon in his harem means he should immediately summon the imperial preceptor, set up all the traps and deal with this threat. But how do you deal with it though? He looked at Su Qingyan's always gentle, dignified face. Even while lecturing a fox, that familiar soft expression was still there between her brows. She'd get mad if a palace maid was mistreated, personally check on sick servants, and even bring him late-night snacks when he was drowning in paperwork. How could this empress be a nation-ruining demoness? His brain was spiraling. All right, scram before the emperor shows up. Our empress, Su Qingyan, finally wrapped up her little family meeting, stroking the tiny fox's head with a hint of reluctance. And just like that, the 9 tails vanished the moment she turned around. Poof! She was back to being Empress Su Qingyan, the picture of perfect imperial dignity. So proper, the mother of the world. Meanwhile, our emperor's heart was doing a full drum solo. Before Su Qingyan could even notice, our emperor quietly bolted from the imperial garden. Total panic mode. Back in his palace, he chugged 3 cups of cold tea, barely managing to calm his absolutely rattled nerves. Your Majesty, is something troubling you from court? Chief Eunuch Gao, seeing his complexion was totally off, carefully asked. He waved his hand, rubbing his temples, his mind still consumed by those 9 large soft tails. No, this won't do. I need to go confirm this myself. What if he was just having a moment that day? A temporary delusion? So under the pretense of having dinner with our queen, he waltzed into Kuning Palace. Su Qingyan saw him, a fleeting spark of joy in her eyes, before she instantly snapped back to her usual dignified self. Curtsying, "Your concubine greets your majesty." "Empress, dispense with the formalities," he said, helping her up, pretending to casually glance behind her. Nothing. Zip. Nada. Just her dazzling imperial robes, and honestly, our emperor felt a pang of disappointment. Bro is down bad. Dinner was served, a spread of exquisite dishes. Usually, Su Qingyan ate with impeccable grace, silent and poised, the epitome of an old-school empress. But today, our emperor decided to be a little naughty. He personally picked a piece of roast chicken and placed it in her bowl. This roast chicken was from the new Western chef in the imperial kitchen, crispy, fragrant, tender, and juicy. It was his absolute fave. "Empress, you've been working so hard day and night with all the imperial duties. Eat more," he said. He said ever so gently. Su Qingyan was utterly floored by the pampering, quickly thanking him, but then she locked eyes with that roasted chicken in her bowl, having a whole internal battle, before ultimately eating it daintily, bit by bit. Our emperor watched her so intently, because, according to all those wild folk novels he's been binging, foxes are obsessed with chicken. And yep, after that one piece of chicken, Su Qingyan's eyes practically started sparkling, though she still tried to play it cool, pretending she wasn't going to touch that plate again. Our emperor was totally chuckling to himself, then went ahead and picked out another huge drumstick for her. "Get that girl her chicken. My queen, if you like it, just eat more. No need to be so formal, seriously." Su Qingyan got all rosy, looking a little shy, but bless her heart, she could not resist that temptation, so she just kept munching away. And this time, our emperor saw it clear as day. 2 tiny, fluffy white tufts of fur popped right out from behind her ears, then poof, they were gone. Our emperor's heart literally skipped a beat. Confirmed, he spent this whole dinner just staring at his queen thinking, okay, so she's a fox spirit. What now? And more importantly, what does her tail feel like? Bro is down astronomical. After dinner, Su Qingyan, ever the diligent empress, brewed tea for his majesty as usual. Her tea-making skills were chef's kiss, smooth as silk. But as our emperor watched her slender back, a much bolder, dare we say unhinged, thought suddenly popped into his head. Qingyan, our emperor suddenly piped up. Your humble servant is here, she replied. Today, I was reading an ancient text in the study, and it mentioned an ancient divine beast, the nine-tailed fox. It said its blood could cure 100 poisons. Its fur was impervious to blades, and it could even bring good fortune to people. Wonder if any of that is true or just a tall tale? Our emperor was all eyes on her reaction as he spoke. Then smash! The teacup in her hand hit the floor, shattering into a million pieces.
Oops.
Su Qingyan whipped her head around, her face utterly drained of color. Our emperor saw fear and panic in her eyes he'd never witnessed before. Your Majesty! Why are you suddenly asking about this? Her voice was trembling like a leaf, that usual cool composure, gone baby gone. Seeing our girl look like a startled bunny, our emperor's heart actually softened a little. Okay, fine, I'm not gonna tease her anymore, he thought. Anymore, and my queen might just accidentally pull a full fox transformation right here, right now. He stepped closer, taking her ice-cold hand. It was just a casual question, my dear, he said softly. Look at you, all scared like this. Did you burn yourself and not say anything? He gently pulled her hand closer, examining it thoroughly. Her hands were beautiful, long slender fingers, skin like porcelain, but right now they were cold as ice. As his warm hand enveloped hers, Su Qingyan quickly pulled back, bowing her head. Your humble servant was impolite, Your Majesty. Please forgive me. It's nothing, he reassured her. Our emperor waved his hand dismissively. I just thought, if such a divine beast really existed in this world, and if it blessed us, wouldn't that be a massive fortune for the entire nation? Our emperor deliberately put extra emphasis on blessed and great fortune. He's a sly one. Su Qingyan just kept her head down. Our emperor couldn't see her expression, but he definitely saw her hands gripping the folds of her robe super tightly. After a long, awkward silence, she finally mumbled in a tiny voice, ancient books, most of them are just exaggerated nonsense, not to be trusted. Oh, really? Our emperor let out a smile that wasn't quite a smile, but held a lot of knowing. That night, His Majesty stayed over at Kuning Palace. In the dead of night, our emperor pretended to be in a deep sleep, but secretly he cracked open one eye. Beside him, Su Qingyan was tossing and turning, clearly not asleep either. A little while later, she must have thought he was totally out cold, because she carefully pulled back the covers and sat up. The moonlight streamed through the window, bathing her in a soft glow. Our emperor saw her let out a soft sigh, and then, bam! Those 9 fluffy tails burst forth from behind her back, spreading across half the bed like some giant, magnificent dandelion in full bloom. She must have felt a little warm, because one of those tails actually started fanning her, just like a regular fan. Lol. Our emperor, he swears, it took every ounce of self-control he had in his entire life not to burst out laughing right then and there. Who knew tails had this kind of function too? Our girl was just sitting there, hugging her pillow, lost in thought, while those 9 tails unconsciously thumped gently on the bed. One of them even accidentally booped our emperor right on the face. So soft, so fluffy, and carrying the faintest, sweetest scent. Our emperor's heart literally melted, like, who could even handle this level of cuteness? Su Qingyan seemed startled by her own tail. She quickly pulled it back, giving it a gentle little pat, like she was scolding a naughty kid. Adorable. She then snuck a peek at our emperor, saw he was still sleeping soundly, and let out a huge sigh of relief before lying back down. But get this, those tails? She totally forgot to retract them. They were just casually draped over her legs, and one of them, totally on its own, flopped right over our emperor's waist. Warm, soft, and a whole big tail. Our emperor was stiff as a board, not daring to twitch a muscle. He didn't want to startle this adorable fox empress, who was still clueless that her secret was out. That night, our emperor slept exceptionally well. With a foxtail draped across his waist, it felt pretty cozy, not gonna lie. From that day forward, our emperor's Empress observation project entered a whole new, intense phase. Turns out, Su Qingyan's true identity was getting exposed way more often than our emperor had even imagined. For example, in the Imperial Garden, there was this Imperial cat named General. The previous emperor had spoiled him absolutely rotten, making him a total menace. But in front of Su Qingyan, that cat was as docile as a tiny little quail. One day, our emperor and his queen, the general strutted in, giving off major I own this place vibes. All the palace staff scrambled to get out of his way. Our emperor was just about to warn Su Qingyan to be careful, when he saw her give the general one single glance. Bro's fur immediately bristled. 1 second he was strutting, the next he was crawling, then flat on the ground, letting out the most pathetic, fawning meows at Su Qingyan. Behind our emperor, Zhao Gao's eyes nearly popped out of his skull, but our emperor was chill, cause he totally got it. Su Qingyan's eyes basically screamed, dare to act all high and mighty cause you're old? Tonight we're having cat hot pot. And the general's cries? They roughly translated to, oh great empress, I was wrong, I won't dare again. You are my god. Looks like our empress is really loved by this general. Our emperor, barely suppressing a laugh, pretended to be serious and told Zhao Gao, perhaps my empress just has a scent it particularly enjoys. Su Qingyan smiled demurely, and our emperor secretly nodded in approval. Duh, it's fox scent. How could he not go weak in the knees? Bloodline suppression, hello? Another time, at a banquet, some foreign tribute brought in a whole batch of grapes. They looked so crystal clear and sweet, you could practically taste them. Su Qingyan, sitting next to our emperor, couldn't tear her eyes away from that plate of grapes. She even swallowed discreetly. Our emperor realized, foxes like grapes too. He subtly gestured to a palace maid, who then brought the entire plate of grapes over to the empress. Su Qingyan's eyes lit up like a Christmas tree, but she still tried to maintain her composure. She delicately picked up a single grape, tasting it bit by bit. Our emperor found it utterly adorable, watching her craving them but holding back. Halfway through the banquet, our emperor excused himself and hid in a corner to observe, only to see Su Qingyan, when no one was looking, lightning fast, shove several clusters of grapes into her wide sleeves. The movements were so practiced, so natural, it was clear she was a pro. Our emperor almost burst out laughing. Turns out our empress had such an unexpectedly adorable side. After the banquet ended, our emperor returned to the palace, pretending to be surprised by the empress. My dear, why are your sleeves so puffy? Su Qingyan froze stiff, her face instantly flushing bright red. She stammered, your consort found this sleeve style quite unique, so I just added some cotton to make them puffier. Our emperor nearly choked on his own spit. This excuse was just too wild. Suppressing his laughter, our emperor stepped closer, gently tugged her sleeve, and out tumbled a glistening bunch of purple grapes. So much for cotton. Our emperor, putting on a serious face, picked one and popped it into his mouth. Quite sweet actually. Su Qingyan was so red, she looked like she could bleed, wishing for a hole to swallow her whole. She looked at our emperor, her eyes red and teary, on the verge of crying. Our emperor's heart immediately melted. All right, our emperor sighed, not waiting for her, pulling her into his embrace. If you want to eat, just eat. You're the empress. This entire empire is yours. Why do you need to sneak around? Your consort was rude. She leaned into our emperor's arms, her body trembling slightly. Our emperor gently patted her back, feeling the softness and warmth of her body. This is good. Our empress wasn't a cold jade statue, but a living fox spirit who loved to eat, felt nervous, and was easily embarrassed. Life continued like this, with our emperor subtly observing, and the empress constantly revealing her adorable flaws. Our emperor even discovered she secretly hosted a monster tea party in the backyard of the Cunning Palace. Turns out there was a carp spirit in the imperial kitchen's pond, rumored to be over 100 years old, and a weasel spirit from the imperial library that had already cultivated into a human form, now a sly scholar, bragging that he'd secretly drunk the ink of a Hanlin Academ Meshin last night, and felt his cultivation had grown stronger. There was even an old Sephora tree spirit, whose age no one knew. Its spirit form was a highly respected elder, leisurely sharing gossip about previous emperors in the palace. Our emperor hid by the wall, listening with rapt attention. Turns out, a certain imperial ancestor in his youth once broke his leg climbing a tree to catch birds. Secrets like these, shaking the very foundations of the heavens, would never be recorded in history books. Su Qingyan, acting as the big sister of the group, sat formally, listening to everyone's reports and occasionally offering comments. Little Li, regarding the pond water, I'll speak to the imperial kitchen and tell them to get better water. Mr. Huang, what's so good about ink? Next time, I'll tell the imperial kitchen to save a whole fish for you. Grandpa, you're old now. You need to take better care of these young ones in the palace. She handled the monster's affairs with such order, truly embodying the demeanor of a true leader. Our emperor saw her commanding presence, a total 180 from her usual dignified, gentle court persona. But like in a way more captivating, girl boss kinda way. However, peace? Not on our watch. Trouble always finds a way, fam. Enter Xuan Lingzi, the national preceptor, a total fake Taoist who claims to slay demons. This dude's been prancing around our emperor, claiming he saw celestial phenomena last night. Our ML usually just brushes him off like, bro, you're overthinking it, it's just good vibes. But Xuan Lingzi? Stubborn as a mule. Once he's got an idea in his head, good luck trying to change it. Today in court, this guy rocks up with a compass, stands in front of everyone, and loudly declares, Your Majesty, I, your humble Taoist, sacrificed 10 years of cultivation yesterday, and I finally pinpointed the location of the demon. It's in the imperial harem. Please, Your Majesty, grant me permission to set up an altar. I will expose this demon for what it truly is and restore cosmic order. Bro, the drama. The entire court went into a chaotic whisper, everyone worried about our emperor's reaction. Our emperor, sitting on his throne, glared down at Xuanlingzi. Inside he was fuming, like legit rage mode. But he couldn't just do anything yet. Xuanlingzi has too much clout with the common folk, and he was even appointed by the previous emperor. Killing him without cause would just lead to a whole mess. Looks like our emperor has to play a little game with this dude. Our emperor pondered for a bit, then slowly said, National Preceptor, your words are very certain. You must have all the evidence, right? If that's the case, I approve. But if this demon is truly in the palace, it's definitely going to be super sneaky. National Preceptor, whatever you need for your ritual, just name it. I'll have the palace guards fully cooperate. We need to make this thorough. Oh, your majesty, truly wise. I need cinnabar, a peachwood sword, and 100-year-old rooster's blood. Xuanlingzi was ecstatic, quickly kowtowing as he rattled off a whole list of ritual items. Our emperor nodded, then subtly signaled to Zhao Gao, his main man. Zhao Gao, you go personally. Make sure to get the best stuff for the national preceptor. And remember, our emperor stressed, really emphasizing the best. Zhao Gao, who'd been with our emperor for ages, instantly got the memo. Your humble servant obeys, he said, bowing respectfully. Xuanlingzi, clueless as ever, thought our emperor totally bought it. He retreated with a smug grin, looking like he'd won the lottery. After court, our emperor watched his arrogant back walk away, a cold smile playing on his lips. This dude really thinks he can mess with my empress right in front of me? Oh, it's on. Xuanlingzi, you're still playing in the kiddie pool, fam. 3 days later, outside Kunning Palace, a towering ritual altar was erected. Xuanlingzi, decked out in his Bagua Taoist robes, whisk in hand, tried to look like a legit immortal master, and honestly, he almost pulled it off. Behind him, Zhao Gao, our main man, led a bunch of junior eunuchs, all respectfully holding various ritual tools. Our emperor and our queen Su Qingyan sat side by side in a pavilion nearby, watching the whole spectacle. Our queen Su Qingyan looked a little pale, her palms sweaty. She was clearly stressed AF. Empress, no need to stress, our emperor whispered, gently taking her hand. It's just the national preceptor's sincerity, he added. My hand is warm, right? Like it's got some calming magic. Our queen's anxiety slowly eased, but her brows were still furrowed, like she was trying to solve a quadratic equation. On the altar, Xuanlingzi finally began his performance. He lit a yellow talisman, mumbling incantations. Apparently, after burning, this talisman was supposed to point right to the densest demonic energy. But that talisman, it hovered around for a bit, then flew straight into Xuanlingzi's face. LMFAO. The entire crowd went crickets. Absolute silence. National Preceptor, you good bro? Must be the win today, huh? Zhao Gao was visibly stifling a laugh. No, it's fine. Just an illusion. The demon is clearly messing with us. Xuanlingzi still red-faced. Xuanlingzi awkwardly wiped his face, scrambling for an explanation. With that, he grabbed his lightning-struck, 1,000-year-old peachwood sword and started doing some fancy Bagua footwork on the altar. The sword pointed at a talisman, just chilling in the air. Supposedly, this peachwood sword was supposed to glow golden, and the talisman was supposed to spontaneously combust. But Xuanlingzi danced around for ages, and the sword stayed a sword, the talisman stayed a talisman. No golden light, not even a spark. He tried a few more times, sweating buckets, but that talisman, still stubbornly unburnt. The officials below started whispering again, but this time, it was a lot less worried. Is this national preceptor, for real? Nah, this ain't it, chief. Xuanlingzi's face was beet red, like he'd just run a marathon of incompetence. Gritting his teeth, he grabbed the bowl of 100-year-old rooster blood, took a big gulp, and then dramatically spat it onto the talisman. Ew, bro. This time the talisman was... Meanwhile, Xuanlingzi looked like he'd swallowed a chili, coughing violently and yelling, Water! Water! So spicy. National Master, this is the 100-year-old rooster blood you personally inspected. Our people painstakingly searched for the longest rooster in the palace, so please forgive the strong aroma. Our emperor was chilling in the pavilion, and almost crushed his teacup from holding back laughter. Zhao Gao, this subordinate, is truly a special individual. I told him to prepare the best stuff, and he certainly didn't disappoint our emperor. Turns out, that was just red flour mixed with a generous dash of chili powder. And that peach wood sword? Just a regular branch chopped right off a tree in the imperial garden. And that bowl of 100-year-old rooster blood? Just red paint mixed with enough chili oil to summon inner demons, apparently. Xuanlingzi was practically weeping from the spice, completely abandoning his immortal demeanor. He watched his top-tier magical artifacts fail one by one, completely dumbfounded, just standing there on the altar muttering, No way, absolutely no way. How could my cultivation magic possibly fail? Seeing this grand demon extermination ceremony about to become a full-blown clown show, our emperor decided it was time to make an entrance. Our emperor cleared his throat, slowly stood up and declared loudly, National Master, you've truly toiled for us. All eyes immediately snapped to our emperor. Our emperor walked up to the altar, looking at the floundering Xuan Lingzi, a sympathetic, reborn smile creasing his lips. National Master, there's no need to feel bad. Just now our emperor saw an unusual phenomenon in the sky, a brilliant auspicious light. Surely this isn't a demon in the palace, but rather a good omen from the heavens themselves. The high heavens were moved by our court's benevolent reign and harmony. After saying that, he dramatically pointed to the sky, which was, of course, clear blue and utterly cloudless. Everyone, including Xuan Lingzi, was bewildered. He looked up at the sky, then back at our emperor, a dawning realization on his face. National Master, your profound cultivation arts allowed you to perceive this auspicious energy. It's just that the energy was so powerful, your artifacts temporarily couldn't handle it, which is why this situation occurred. This isn't the National Master's fault. On the contrary, it's proof of your exceptionally high cultivation. Our emperor delivered these words with such sincere logic and emotion that Xuan Lingzi was completely discombobulated. He stood there, dazed, pondering for a moment. Wait, it does seem that way. That's right. It's not that my magic is weak, it's that the auspicious energy was simply too powerful. He immediately had an epiphany, looking at our emperor with utter gratitude and reverence, bowing respectfully. Your Majesty is truly wise. This humble Taoist was foolish. Turns out this was an auspicious omen from the heavens. This humble Taoist almost offended the divine. Oh, the audacity. The heavens themselves bestow auspicious signs, and the National Master is indeed formidable to have perceived such a blessing. The civil and military officials all scrambled to echo the sentiment, and the demon exorcism farce, under our emperor's subtle reinterpretation, transformed into a grand convention of praise and auspiciousness. Our emperor looked at the whole scene with satisfaction, then turned to Su Qingyan. Our empress was looking at our emperor with an incredibly complex gaze. In her eyes there was surprise, doubt, confusion, and a hint of a warmth that was hard to articulate. Our emperor smiled back at her, knowing some things were better left unsaid. After the whole kerfuffle blew over, our emperor used the excuse of the National Master's meritorious perception of auspicious omens to reward him with tons of gold, silver, and jewels. Then, he suggested Xuan Lingzi go into secluded cultivation for a year and a half to consolidate his realm, strictly forbidding him from leaving. Finally, this troublesome Taoist was yeeted. That evening, our emperor went to Kunning Palace. After dismissing everyone, only our emperor and Su Qingyan remained in the bedchamber. She bowed her head, preparing tea for our emperor, her movements a little hesitant. For today's matter, this Empress thanks your Majesty for saving me. She finally spoke, her voice barely a whisper. Our ML replied, the Empress is our emperor's wife. Isn't it only natural for our emperor to protect her? Su Qingyan suddenly looked up, her glistening eyes meeting our emperor's. Her lips trembled, as if she wanted to say something, but ultimately, no words came out. Our emperor didn't press her. Our emperor knew that deep inside her heart, the hardest shell had finally begun to crack. Our emperor set down the teacup, stepped in front of her, and gently stroked the back of her ear, right where two tiny soft ticklish tufts of white fur had secretly, uncontrollably sprouted. Su Qingyan stiffened instantly. Her entire body froze, and our emperor could feel her breath hitch in her throat. Our emperor's fingers lingered behind her ear for a moment, then, under her horrified gaze, slowly slid down, stopping just at the small of her back. May our emperor have a little touch? Our emperor asked softly, in an entirely too innocent, probing tone. Su Qingyan instantly became as stiff as a statue. Her eyes widened, staring at our emperor in utter disbelief, like he'd grown a second head. The air in the chamber crackled, silent enough that you could hear the frantic pounding of both their hearts. Our emperor's heart was racing, a mix of nerves and pure anticipation. Her face, at a speed visible to the naked eye, flushed from her cheeks, all the way down to her neck, even her earlobes turning a vibrant shade of pink. Your Majesty, what are you talking about? She stammered, her voice a tiny squeak, almost about to shatter. Our ML saw her flustered and awkward look, and the urge to tease her just skyrocketed. Not only did his hand not pull back, but he gently patted her lower back, his tone getting even softer somehow. Can I touch your tail? He asked. Su Qingyan's brain probably short-circuited. She looked like she'd been struck by lightning, staggering back 2 steps, staring at him with pure despair in her eyes. How did you know? Our ML just leisurely watched her, a smirk playing on his lips. Oh, little fox, if he didn't hit her with a bombshell, she was really going to keep up this act. She just pointed at him, stammering for ages, unable to utter a single word. The next second, something absolutely wild happened. Maybe it was too much emotion, but a loud whoosh erupted behind her, and the very tails our ML had been dreaming about, day and night, unleashed themselves. Pure white, soft, and absolutely ginormous, they immediately took up all the space behind her. A few even stood up stiffly due to their owner's agitation, like a cat fluffing up its fur when scared. Our ML's eyes immediately glitched and froze. In the Imperial Garden he'd only caught a glimpse Later in bed he'd felt them through fabric, but now, these legendary tails just burst forth, uninhibited, right before his very eyes. Even more beautiful, more astonishing than he'd imagined. Su Qingyan clearly hadn't expected this either. She looked down, let out a tiny yelp, and desperately tried to hide her tails. But the more she rushed, the more chaotic it got. Those tails seemed to have a mind of their own, flailing wildly in the air. Go back, quick! She was so frantic she was practically choking, her hands and feet flailing as she tried to wrangle her own tails. It looked exactly like someone fighting with 9 mischievous children, pure chaos but hilarious. RML finally couldn't hold it in anymore and burst out laughing. That laugh made Su Qingyan's frantic movements freeze. She stared at him blankly, her eyes red-rimmed and filled with a mix of humiliation and despair. Her eyes screamed, "You already knew, and you're still laughing at me?" RML reined in his smile, sighed and stepped forward. She instinctively recoiled, her eyes wide with wariness and unease. In her mind, her identity was exposed, and what awaited her was probably the National Master's peachwood sword and a chilling prison cell. He stopped right in front of her, not moving any closer. He reached out a hand, not to seize her, but to gently, carefully touch the tip of the nearest tail. The sensation was smoother than the finest silk, softer than the warmest fox fur in the dead of winter. RML's heart, in that moment, was filled with an inexpressible sense of pure, unadulterated satisfaction. Su Qingyan finally trembled as if struck by an electric current. From the tip of her tail, she could feel a warmth spreading, the Emperor's very own body heat. She didn't flinch, she just stood there, stunned, allowing his hand to slowly stroke upwards from the tip of her tail. He could feel the stiffness in her body slowly beautifully melting away. "They're even more beautiful than I imagined," he praised, his voice utterly sincere. This wasn't some empty pleasantry, these were truly words from his heart. Su Qingyan's eyes grew even redder, and large unbidden tears began to roll down her cheeks. She wasn't crying out of fear, but from a flood of humiliation, unease, and a touch of profound relief from an acceptance she hadn't even realized she craved. "Aren't you afraid of me?" "I'm a demon," she whispered. RML just chuckled. "I am the son of heaven. The 4 seas are mine, and all living things under heaven are my subjects. And you are my empress. Whether you are human or demon, that will never change." He gently wrapped one of her tails in his hand, savoring its softness. "Besides, my empress is so adorable, I can barely love you enough. Why would I ever be afraid?" He paused, leaning into her ear, his voice a private whisper meant only for them. Su Qingyan's body went utterly limp. She leaned into his embrace, burying her face in his chest. The cries she'd held back for so long finally found their release. She wept like a child, as if wanting to purge all the humiliation, anxiety, and fear of the past 3 years all in one go. RML held her, letting her cry, while his hands, however, were anything but innocent. He discreetly fondled all 8 of her remaining tails, one by one. Once she'd cried her fill, her emotions gradually calmed. She lifted her red-rimmed eyes to him, asking in a small voice, "Your Majesty, when did you know?" He thought for a moment, then decided to tell her the truth. "When you were disciplining that little white fox." Then the roasted chicken? Spill the tea, sis." RML saw her hide it in her sleeve, and that Guoshi boy I had all his magic tools swapped out. Our girl Su Qingyan was literally gaping, speechless for ages. Her expression went from pure shock to "I give up, there's nothing left to say." She was probably realizing her past 3 years were basically a whole circus act, and the only audience was this emperor, who's been sitting front row, cracking up this entire time. She glared at our emperor, absolutely fuming. Even her tail swished violently, and guess what? It smacked him right in the face. It made a twap, not painful, but definitely a memorable sound effect. Our emperor was totally bewildered. Su Qingyan was equally dumbfounded. She looked at her rogue tail, then back at our ML, so spooked, she snatched all her tails back in a flash. I didn't mean to, Your Majesty." She rushed to explain, and our ML, he just rubbed his face, not only not angry but smiling even wider. He's literally glowing. "It's fine," our simp ML said, pulling her hand, then dragging her right back into his embrace. Our emperor was like, "Finally, my empress is being all cute and clingy with me. This is what a real power couple looks like." With her identity finally out in the open, our emperor and Su Qingyan's relationship officially entered its next phase. Pure, unadulterated, diabetes-inducing fluff. Our FL no longer had to hide her true chaotic nature. While she was still the picture of a dignified empress in public, in front of our emperor, she was getting increasingly unhinged and free-spirited. For example, she'd casually devour a whole plate of roasted chicken, getting grease all over her face, then give our ML the saddest puppy dog eyes so he'd wipe her mouth for her. Or, when our emperor was approving memorials, she'd release all 9 of her luxurious tails, draping them over his throne, creating the most opulent and warmest fur cushion for him. Talk about a glow-up for his chair. His back pain, poof, vanished just like that. And another example, she'd literally drag our emperor to her monster tea parties. The first time our emperor attended as family, he scared those little monster buddies absolutely speechless. They were shook. The carp Jing immediately reverted to its true form, hid in a jar, and started blowing stress bubbles. The wolf Prince Jing burrowed into a crack in the ground, only its tiny, trembling head peeking out. Only the old Y tree was unbothered. What are you guys so scared of? This is my hubby. Su Qingyan's chosen monster family is quite the formidable bunch, truly majestic. Our emperor totally loved being called hubby, but this entire family reunion still left him feeling a chaotic mix of amusement and awkwardness. Under Su Qingyan's personal guidance, our emperor quickly became one with the palace's non-human residents. He's officially part of the squad. Our emperor learned that the imperial kitchen was scamming on ingredient purchases, all thanks to a tip-off from the carp Jing. The very next day, he personally rectified the chief manager of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Get him, ML! Our emperor also discovered that several precious books from the previous dynasty in the Kongshu Gi were being devoured by termites, thanks to the Weasel Spirit's report. He immediately ordered the Hanlin Yuan to begin restoration work. Our emperor even got the juiciest gossip about his ancestors from the old Huai tree, adding an unexpected amount of joy to his imperial life. Who needs court historians when you have ancient trees? Our emperor realized being an emperor who can chat with monsters isn't so bad after all. At least for intelligence gathering, he has a god-tier advantage over all his predecessors. In court, he was still that dignified, intimidating monarch. But back in the harem, our emperor was a happy king, literally enveloped in fluffy, luxurious tails. Our emperor even started finding new, unexpected uses for those tails. Like when summer got too hot, he'd have Su Qingyan use her tails to fan his feet. Talk about a built-in AC unit. And when winter hit hard, cuddling up with her and all 9 tails under the blankets was basically the world's #1 premium heating pad. Pure luxury. Even after tiring days approving memorials, he could just grab one of her tails as a body pillow, squishing and kneading it for the most wonderful, stress-relieving sensation. Maximum stress relief achieved, folks. But, as all good things must, these happy, peaceful days were eventually shattered. Urgent news from the border. The neighboring nation of Beiyan suddenly launched a massive invasion. Beiyan was known as a land of powerful, demonic tribes, strong in force but not exactly known for their brain cells. In past years, they'd only launched minor skirmishes but never dared a full-blown invasion. This time, though, the situation was completely different. On the urgent memorial, the border general's report was written in characters red as blood. You know it's bad when they use blood ink. The enemy had a freaking Yao Dao helping them, who could summon wind and rain and even turn beans into soldiers. Like seriously OP. Our troops suffered heavy casualties, losing 3 strongholds in a row, a major L for us.
A Yao Dao?
Our emperor frowned, deeply troubled. At court, panic spread like wildfire, as the war faction loudly demanded reinforcements be sent north for a decisive deathmatch against the Beiyan army. The peace treaty gang, however, was freaking out, convinced those dark arts were too OP for mere mortals. So they just wanted to run and hide. Watching the civil and military officials bicker loudly below me, my heart turned cold. Summons wind, conjures rain, turns beans into soldiers. This isn't just magic, it's a full-blown cheat code. This was no longer a power that any regular army could even hope to fight against. Marching troops out now would just be sending them to their doom. Your Majesty, your humble servant is willing to personally march a whole-ass army north to face the enemy. Even if I die a glorious death, I swear the Beiyan demon horde will not touch even an inch of our dynasty's land. Minister Zhang's loyalty and courage are totally commendable, but that demonic sorcery is wildly unpredictable. It's not about how many troops we throw at it. This old man says, why not send envoys to talk things out and figure out what we're actually up against? Chancellor, you want us to surrender without even lifting a finger? Your old chancellor is just trying to save our soldiers' lives. The court erupted into chaotic arguments once more. My heart was a tangled mess. I slammed my hand down on the throne, and the entire hall went dead silent. I rubbed my temples in frustration. Then a thought popped into my head, Xuan Lingzi. I mean, sure, last time he pulled a whole clown show trying to exorcise demons, but he is our Imperial National Grandmaster. To deal with this wicked sorcery, maybe he has an idea? I immediately sent out a royal decree, inviting Grandmaster Xuan Lingzi to get his butt out of seclusion to discuss national affairs. I showed him the grim border reports. After Xuan Lingzi read them, he stroked his beard, a deep frown on his face. Summons wind, conjures rain, turns beans into soldiers, he muttered. This is just petty, unorthodox evil art. Though it has form, it has no real substance. Nothing to be scared of. This humble Taoist has been cultivating for centuries. I've never failed to curb this kind of wicked sorcery. A paltry Beiyan demon cultist? Just let this humble Taoist go myself, and I'll send him straight to the afterlife, no questions asked. His words were dripping with confidence, and while the court officials were still side-eyeing his last performance, right now, there were literally no better options. Alright, I appoint Grandmaster Xuan Lingzi as the Grand Marshal of Demon Subjugation, granting him the Supreme Imperial Sword. He will take full command of the war against Beiyan. Whatever he needs, the Imperial Treasury will cover it, no questions asked. Xuan Lingzi was absolutely thrilled, accepted the decree with a bow and a flourish. That very day, he packed his demon-slicing bags and leading his gang of disciples and grand disciples, confidently set off towards the northern border front. Watching his back as he left, my heart still held a nagging sense of unease. Back in the harem, Su Qingyan had been waiting for ages. She had clearly heard the rumors from the front lines, her face etched with worry. "Your Majesty, that Beiyan demon cultist is probably way more than meets the eye," she said softly. "I know, but Xuan Lingzi is our dynasty's only hope," I nodded. Su Qingyan bit her lip, looking like she had more to say, but in the end, it was just a soft sigh. She stepped behind me, and out came her 9 fluffy tails, gently wrapping around me. The soft, fluffy embrace, carrying her signature scent, instantly melted away my worries. "No matter what happens, your humble consort will be by your Majesty's side." She leaned her head against my back, her voice steady and firm. I turned to grasp her hand, and a wave of warmth spread through me. Yes, even if the world ends, I won't be facing it alone. But my ominous feeling quickly came true. Just half a month later, what arrived from the northern border wasn't a triumphant victory report, but a frantic SOS from Xuan Lingzi. Xuan Lingzi's handwriting was a frantic scrawl, practically screaming terror. He said the Beiyan demon cultist named Wu Xin possessed unbelievably OP magic. All his magic was like kid stuff in front of that guy. Almost all his disciples were wiped out, and he himself was critically injured, cornered in Yanmen Pass. Along with the SOS letter there were also receipts, Xuan Lingzi's broken-in-half fly whisk and his tattered Bagua Taoist robe. The entire court was in absolute shock. Even the Imperial National Grand Master was literally no match. Who is this Beiyan demon cultist, really? Panic spread like wildfire again. The peace treaty gang quickly gained ground, some even suggesting handing over 3 cities to Beiyan in exchange for peace. I slammed that ridiculous memorial onto the ground. Ceding land for peace? This is absolutely humiliating. I was seething. Not one single inch of our dynasty's land can be surrendered, but if we don't seek peace, what else can we even do? Must I really stand by and watch Yanmen Pass fall, letting Beiyan's iron cavalry advance unimpeded for days? I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. My hair was literally turning gray. Su Qingyan quietly stayed by my side, a silent comfort. She wasn't even trying to cheer me up with her fluffy tails anymore, just quietly brewed tea. I knew she was even more worried than I was. Finally, deep into the night, as I paced endlessly in my study, still losing my mind over the war reports, Su Qingyan gently tugged on my sleeve. "Your Majesty, let your humble consort go." Our queen was like, "Did I just hear that right? Let your consort go to the northern border. Maybe your consort has a way to deal with that demon dude." "No, absolutely not." Our simp ML was like, "Nah fam, no thoughts, head empty, absolutely not. Letting an empress like you go to a dangerous battlefield? As if this emperor could ever agree." "Su Qingyan, don't mess around. This emperor is serious. The political arena is no joke. Your Majesty, your consort isn't messing around." Our girl boss, Su Qingyan, cut him off. Her eyes were practically glowing, with an undeniable resolve. "Have you already forgotten who your consort is?" "Of course, this emperor hasn't forgotten. You are a 9-tailed fox, an ancient divine beast, the master of Qingqiu. But in this emperor's heart, you are first and foremost my wife, the one I must protect with my entire life. Even so, it's a no-go. You are the Empress. Your duty is to be the mother of the world, not to go out and fight. But if the nation falls, where would the world be? What good is the title of Empress then?" Su Qingyan fired back, leaving our emperor speechless. "Your Majesty, your consort knows you're worried about me, but that demon cultivator could easily defeat Xuan Lingzi. They're definitely not an ordinary cultivator. Regular armies are completely useless against them. If we keep this up, our dynasty is doomed. Your consort is a 9-tailed fox who has cultivated for 1,000 years. I'm not some weak, defenseless maiden. Dealing with demon cultivators? Honey, that's literally our profession. Let your consort go. At least then, there's still a fighting chance. And if even your consort can't do it, then it's just fate." Every single word she said struck deep into this emperor's heart. His reason screamed at him. She was right. This was the only way, their last hope. But emotionally, our simp ML absolutely could not accept it. This emperor looked at her resolute gaze, his heart in utter chaos. After a long moment, he closed his eyes and let out a deep sigh. "How confident are you, truly?" 100%. Su Qingyan smirked, a smile so confident and radiant it could banish all gloom. Finally, this emperor agreed, but with one condition. He had to go with her personally. Su Qingyan, of course, did not agree. But this time, it was this emperor's turn to be stubborn. She was his queen. He was her hubby. Husband and wife are meant to be one entity. There was no way he'd let her face danger alone. while he just sat back and watched? Nah, this emperor looked at her, enunciating every word. Either we go together, or no one goes at all. Su Qingyan couldn't persuade this emperor. Our emperor immediately issued a decree, personally leading as the Son of Heaven to boost morale. He formed a light cavalry unit and rushed towards the northern border. To avoid unnecessary attention, Su Qingyan's identity was kept strictly confidential. Externally, she was just an accompanying female official by his side. Before setting off, this emperor summoned Zhao Gao. After this emperor leaves the capital, the crown prince will act as regent with the prime minister's assistance. You, stay in the palace and look after things for me. Your Majesty, absolutely not, 1,000 times no. You are a body of 10,000 gold. How can you personally take such risks? Zhao Gao knelt on the ground, tears welling in his eyes. Zhao Gao, this time, this emperor is not going as an emperor, but as a husband. Do you understand? This emperor patted his shoulder. Zhao Gao was dumbfounded. He looked at this emperor then said, "This servant obeys your command. This servant wishes His Majesty and Her Majesty a triumphant victory. Let's get this W, fam." The grand army set off, and our queen and Su Qingyan were sharing a carriage. Inside, while Su Qingyan was resting her eyes, her fluffy tail just casually spread out, filling the carriage. One part even comfortably draped itself over our queen's lap, and our queen found herself stroking that luxurious fur, even as worry gnawed at her heart. Qingyan, she opened her eyes. That demonic cultivator from Beiyan, Wu Xin, do you know him? Su Qingyan's eyes flickered for just a second, then she shook her head. Don't know him, but with that level of power, he's definitely not a nobody. Probably some ancient monster in hiding. Our queen always felt like Su Qingyan was hiding something, but since she stayed quiet, our queen didn't push it. After days of endless dust and relentless travel, 10 days later, they finally reached Yanmu City. The sight before them made everyone gasp in horror. The once majestic pass was now nothing but crumbling ruins. The city walls were scarred with blade marks and scorched black, like they'd been struck by lightning. Inside the city, desolation reigned. Every single soldier looked haggard, their morale absolutely tanked. Our queen's arrival didn't bring them much hope, just apathy. Oof. Xuan Lingzi was helped out to greet our queen. He looked like he'd aged 20 years overnight, his body covered in wounds, his spirit utterly drained. Where was the mighty demon-slaying Grand Marshal now? Seeing our queen, he immediately crumpled to his knees, sobbing his heart out. Your Majesty, this humble Taoist is utterly useless. I deserve death 1,000 times over. What exactly is the story behind that demonic cultivator? Our queen helped him up, asking in a grave voice. He responded, he's not human, he's a true monster. His demonic arts are just too twisted and evil. Just then, a smug, arrogant laugh echoed from outside the city walls. Welp, looks like the main villain just made his grand entrance. What's wrong? Xuan Lingzi couldn't even beat one old man, so he called an even older one to come and die for him? His sinister voice, as if it could pierce through the very city walls, resonated in everyone's ears. Everyone's faces went pale. It's him, the demonic cultivator, Wu Xin of Beiyan. Our queen and Su Qingyan ascended the city wall. Outside, before the vast dark army of Beiyan, stood a man in black robes, exuding arrogant power. He had a strikingly handsome face, but it was marred by an undeniably evil aura, and his eyes, they were a bizarre blood red. This was Wu Xin. Beside him, a swirling mass of black mist enveloped everything, and within that mist, countless distorted, struggling specters could vaguely be seen. Yikes. Who dares to show their face? State your name. Wu Xin stared at them with utter disdain. His eyes lingered on our queen's dragon robes for a beat, then immediately darted to Su Qingyan standing beside her. The moment his eyes landed on Su Qingyan's face, the smug smile on his lips froze. Then that frozen smile twisted into an indescribable mixture of madness and pure unhinged excitement. Uh-oh, yandere flags are officially flying. It's you, the master of Qingqiu Su Qingyan. I've been searching for you for 3 millennia. I never imagined you'd be hiding here, playing Empress to a mere mortal. Su Qingyan's expression immediately frosted over. She took a step forward, facing Wu Xin, her voice like shards of ice. Wu Xin, 3 millennia ago you betrayed Qingqiu. You stole our clan's sacred artifact, the soul-devouring pearl. You slaughtered our fellow disciples. And I, because I remembered how hard you cultivated, only crippled half of your cultivation. Expelled you from our master's side. But you learned nothing. Instead, you grew even more vicious, and now you're bringing disaster to the mortal world again. A massive wave of realization hit our queen. So they knew each other. Wu Xin was actually Su Qingyan's junior martial brother. Plot twist, much? Wu Xin looked like he'd just heard the funniest joke, then burst into maniacal laughter. Su Qingyan, you've always been so high and mighty. Back then, you became the master of Qingqiu. Tell me, in terms of talent, in terms of intellect, where was I ever inferior to you? It was only because you were the clan leader's daughter, only because your bloodline was pure. I stole the soul-devouring pearl precisely to prove to everyone that I, Wu Xin, am more worthy of being the king of Chu than you. His eyes burned within. Wu Xin, you're tripping. Power is not the end-all, be-all, boo. You're literally drowning in the soul-devouring pearl's evil energy. You've gone full cultivation deviant, and honey, you're beyond saving, so stop yapping. Today you and I are settling this once and for all, period. I want you, that basic bitch mortal emperor behind you, and this whole crumbling city to all turn to literal dust. And just like that, the black mist behind him went absolutely feral, exploding into countless fanged, clawed demons, literally blotting out the sky and charging straight for Yanmen Pass. Talk about an uninvited guest list. Up on the city wall, every single soldier went ghost white, backing away like their lives depended on it. As they should. Xuanlingzi literally screamed, then yeeted himself unconscious to shield our queen, Su Qingyan. Bro, the dedication. But our queen, Su Qingyan, was like nope, and gently pushed him away. She faced the sky full of demons, walking step by step to the very front of the city wall, her long hair and robes giving main character energy as they billowed in the wind. And under everyone's absolutely flabbergasted stares, behind her 9 pure, ethereal, white foxtails shot straight into the heavens. Our girl boss just unlocked her final form. In that instant, the world literally lost all its chill. Those 9 gigantic foxtails, looking like 9 majestic white divine dragons, soared through the air, each one radiating a gentle yet absolutely pristine white light. Peak goddess energy much? That divine light and Wu Xin's evil, murky black mist created a contrast so stark, it was giving light versus dark mode vibes. Up on the city wall, all the soldiers were utterly dumbfounded. Their jaws were on the floor, fear completely forgotten, as they just stared blankly at this woman, who literally looked like a celestial being sent from the heavens. Who wouldn't, though? Xuanling's eyes wide and jaw practically unhinged, just mumbled, "The 9-tailed fox? The shock is real, y'all." He finally understood why all his fancy magic was basically useless against our Empress. It wasn't his magic failing, fam. It was him not even being worthy to breathe the same air, let alone cast spells, in front of her. Even Wu Xin outside the city got absolutely slammed by this powerful divine beast aura. That manic look on his face, gone, replaced by pure unadulterated, deeply rooted jealousy. Oh, the tea is scalding. No way. How's your power even stronger than it was 3 millennia ago? Bro is shooketh. He absolutely roared. Su Qingyan didn't even dignify him with a response. She just casually raised a hand towards the sky full of demons, and a sweep of white light instantly turned them into green smoke. Just one move, and she shattered Wu Xin's night parade of 100 demons formation. Talk about an instant clapback. Wu Xin's face went even paler. He frantically formed a hand seal, summoning a black lightning bolt thick as a tree trunk, aiming it straight for our queen's head. Desperation much? Empress, look out, your majesty. The soldiers screamed in pure terror, and bestie, my heart legit leaped into my throat. The suspense was killing me. Our queen, Su Qingyan, just calmly tilted her head, then casually brought out her second tail, coiling it up with such grace, transforming it into a gigantic gleaming white sky shield, completely enveloping the entire Yanmen Pass. Talk about a glow-up. That black lightning bolt, it slammed into the sky shield like a truck. But guess what? Not a single hair inside the city was harmed. Period. How is this possible? Wu Xin was in a full-blown meltdown. His 2 ultimate skills, which he was so proud of, just got neutralized like they were nothing. Big yikes. Wu Xin, are you still not getting it? Power obtained through external forces is literally just an illusion, boo. Your mind was long ago taken over by the soul-devouring pearl, and now you're literally its slave. It's giving toxic relationship. Shut up! Shut up! Wu Xin absolutely screamed, beating his chest with wild abandon, forcing out that pitch-black soul-devouring pearl. Desperate times, desperate measures, I guess. Su Qingyan, you pushed me to this. Today I'm going to show you the real power of the soul-devouring pearl. He threw his arms out, his whole body literally fusing with the soul-devouring pearl, transforming into a colossal demon god, like 10 zhang tall, with a green face and gnarly fangs. A wave of evil aura, like 10x stronger, just swept across the entire battlefield. This is not good. Wu Xin's inner monologue. Su Qingyan, now feel desperate, and then his 6 arms simultaneously swung weapons attacking our queen. This time, a tiny frown finally creased our queen's face. She let out a soft battle cry, and her remaining 7 tails simultaneously blazed to life, forming a colossal, 7-colored array. The legendary Qingqiu secret art, 7 Glories evil banishing array. The ultimate glow-up, seriously. Our queen, Su Qingyan, formed hand seals with both hands, chanting incantations like a boss, as her gigantic array clashed head-on with the demon god's attack. This is getting intense. Holiness and pure evil clashed fiercely, sending shockwaves through the universe. I gripped the city wall's railing, so tight, my knuckle went white. My eyes absolutely glued to that shimmering white figure at the center of the battlefield. Don't worry, our queen. I'm with you in spirit. Qingyan, you have to win this. Please, queen, for the culture. The demon god's power was absolutely berserk, but our queen's array was holding strong. They were evenly matched, but I could see her face getting paler and paler. My heart was in my throat, y'all. It's useless, Su Qingyan. Against the sheer power of the soul-devouring pearl, literally all your efforts are futile. Suddenly, one of his arms shattered through the array, morphing into a gigantic, terrifying claw, lunging straight for our queen, Su Qingyan's heart. My stomach dropped. In that literal hair's breadth moment, a fierce, determined glint flashed in our queen, Su Qingyan's eyes. She's got a plan. She pulled back all her defenses, literally letting that claw come for her, while simultaneously pouring every ounce of her power into her nymph tail. This is the final boss move. Qingqiu's ultimate secret, the divine punishment tail. That tail transformed into a sky-piercing sword of blinding white light, thrusting straight into the demon god's heart, which was, naturally, right where the soul-devouring pearl was. MIC drop. A wound for a wound, a life for a life. No! I screamed, my voice raw with despair. Our queen, no, this isn't how it ends. Two sounds, almost simultaneous, echoed through the air. That black claw tore straight through our queen, Su Qingyan's shoulder, while her sword of white light pierced directly through the demon god's chest, hitting the soul-devouring pearl dead on. My jaw is on the floor, you guys. Ah! The demon god lets out a blood-curdling scream, its massive body crumbling into dust. We won. Thunderous cheers erupt from the city walls. We won, our Empress is mighty. But in my eyes there was no joy of victory, only endless panic. Because the moment the demon god vanished, Su Qingyan's body fell from the sky like a kite with a broken string. Qingyan? I didn't even think twice, leaping from the tens of meters high city wall, firmly catching her falling body. She was so light and her body was so cold. Your Majesty, did this consort not disgrace you? Don't say anything more, don't say anything more. I'll take you back. You'll be fine, absolutely fine. I held her close, running like a madman towards the city, but it was useless. Your Majesty, the power of the soul-devouring pearl has already invaded this consort's heart meridian. Consort, I forbid you to speak. I am the Son of Heaven, I command you, nothing must happen to you. To be married to your Majesty, to become your Empress, is Qingyan's greatest happiness in this life. Her words weren't even when her hand fell limp. I held her cold body, kneeling on the ground, letting out a desperate roar like a wild beast. I carried Su Qingyan back to the general's mansion, ordering all the royal physicians to come. But it was useless, all of them were useless. If you can't save the Empress, I want all of you to die with her. Your Majesty, please restrain your grief. Get out. If it weren't for your incompetence, how could the Empress have been so gravely injured? This lowly subject's crimes are too great to be atoned for, even by death. Xuanling Ziqiu dodged, letting the teacup be thrown directly at his head. I chased everyone out, sitting silently by her bed alone, holding her cold hand, repeatedly calling her name. Qingyan, wake up, look at me. Don't you like roast chicken? I'll tell the Imperial Kitchen to make it for you every day. I haven't touched your tail enough yet. Please, just wake up so I can touch it a little, okay? My voice went from pleading to choked up, finally becoming silent. She still didn't open her eyes. Just as I was sinking into despair, a small white fox crept in. It jumped onto the bed, circled Su Qingyan a few times, then spat out a blue pearl from its mouth, pushing it toward me with its paw. I immediately understood its meaning. This was a life-saving treasure. With trembling hands, I took the warm pearl and carefully placed it on the wound on her chest. A miracle happened. The blue pearl transformed into a stream of blue light, merging into her body. Her pale face gradually regained its rosy color, her body began to warm up, and her vitality slowly recovered. It's working. It's really working. Overjoyed, I hugged the small white fox. Thank you. Thank you. The small white fox disdainfully licked its fur, then quickly disappeared. I knew the fox clan of Qingqiu was secretly helping us. I took Su Qingyan's hand again. This time her hand was no longer cold. Half a month later, the great army returned victorious. I ordered a complete news blackout about the nine-tailed fox's involvement in the battle. Publicly, it was announced that Xuanling Zi and I had coordinated to eliminate the demonic path, and that the Empress had simply exhausted her mental energy for the people's blessings. She had fallen ill and was in a coma. Days passed and Su Qingyan still hadn't woken up. After I finished handling court affairs, all my time was spent by her side, telling her stories of the court and reading her folk tales. A month later, on a beautiful sunny afternoon, I was sitting by her bed, peeling an apple for her. I suddenly felt the hand I was holding subtly stir. Your Majesty, I choked out. I'm right here. The one who caused this is gone. My joy has returned. My Empress. I couldn't hold back anymore, embracing her tightly. It was a long while before we finally let go. Su Qingyan leaned against the headboard, her very own fluffy tail secretly emerging, enveloping us both. Your Majesty, when this consort was in a coma, it seems I heard someone say they wanted to use the throne as a cushion for this consort. You misheard, I said. This consort also heard, she continued. Someone say they hadn't touched this consort's tail enough. The wind was too strong. I didn't hear clearly, I quickly interjected. So, can your majesty touch it enough now? She teased. Su Qingyan smiled like a fox that had just stolen a chicken, taking my hand and placing it on one of her tails. She leaned in, whispering into my ear as the sun. Our simp ML is like, okay, yeah, my empress is probably a whole demoness. But then immediately follows up with, but she's the only treasure I'll protect my entire life. Sir, that's called being down astronomical. Yeah.